Manchester City have finally been exposed. They have been called out. And so have I, in many ways. Far too often this season, we have put their poor performances, their bad days in the office down to being maybe just a blip in an otherwise flawless machine. But there is a pattern. And today on the Full Fan Highlight Show, my match reaction show, was a bit of a reality check for me. Pep Guardiola is a GOAT of this game. He is certainly this generation's greatest manager. He's one of the greatest of all time. And I don't think that can be debated. And I also don't feel that legacy can be undone. But City have had so many wake-up calls this season, so many wake-up calls this campaign, and they refuse to answer it. This squad isn't good enough. There are the burning embers of one of the greatest squads English football has ever seen, ever, point blank. Haaland, KDB, as an example. They're a case in point. But the new recruitment over the last 2 to 3 years has been average, would be fair, maybe a little bit tame. Poor, many would say, is accurate. And on top of that, Pep Guardiola. I got schooled earlier on today on the Football Terrace here, my own platform, for not going in on him enough. And Man City fans schooled me, rival fans schooled me, the chat. And I sat there afterwards reading the comments, listening back to what everybody said, and I have to admit, I was wrong. So as much as City and Pep have been exposed, so have I. Twice against Brighton today, they threw away the lead. Twice they had control, and they let it slip like it meant nothing. This isn't a freak accident anymore when it comes to Manchester City. This is where they are right now. 200 million euros was spent in January, and there hasn't been a massive improvement. Mamouche looks good. Nico Gonzalez looks okay. But it's not as though they've suddenly solidified and become a very hard team to beat, a hard team to create chances against. The relentless mentality and the sort of tactical perfection that Pep Guardiola delivered has also been missing. And he himself has spoke publicly about the change in football. Teams have become far more direct. They're no longer afraid of not having the ball. They have highly technical, gifted players. From top to bottom in the Premier League, there's really gifted players now in every squad. But these teams are not trying to go out and play Pep Guardiola like for like. Some teams, like Brighton, love to do that. But by and large, teams have learned to be very direct. And Brighton today, they schooled Pep Guardiola. Brighton, they had times where they were aggressor and they pressed and they were offensive. There were other times where they sat back for large periods and just absorbed. And then because of their technical ability, the speed in their squad, they played their way very quickly, 1 or 2 passes into very dangerous attacking situations. And this season, Pep is great. Pep is amazing. But maybe, just maybe, he's tiki-taka style, being the aggressor, dominating the ball, is no longer going to work in the Premier League. Maybe, just maybe, it's gone past its sell-by date. There's been an evolution. And the big question is, can Man City and can Pep Guardiola adapt? Is their recruitment, unlike the last couple of years that has been by and large poor, will it improve in the summer? Something I said a few weeks ago, I'm readdressing because I now think I'm wrong. I felt as though they would do brilliantly in January, do brilliantly in the summer, and you would see a City side that we could already put in the title conversation next year. I no longer believe that is a foregone conclusion. I no longer feel confident in Manchester City or Pep to guarantee they're going to be challenging for that Premier League next year. When you consider they're not going to have a pre-season to even embed these new players. The World Club Championship has come along for City at the most inopportune moment in the last 8 years. It truly, truly has. Pep, he's been backed by every City fan. He's been backed by the City board, but I don't think they've done a good enough job as of late. But I also feel they have to not pander to Pep Guardiola, and they need to be having conversations about his style of football. Maybe it's even about looking at the market of players by and large and saying, look, there may not be the availability to have a squad that can dominate as you've done in years gone by, have 60, 70% of the ball, penetrate teams, score the goals, be a defensive powerhouse, having the legs to get up and down the pitch when you are counter-attacked. Or maybe, just maybe, that's a possibility. Do City have the cojones to have that conversation with him and say, you are going to have to adapt as football is adapting, as many great managers before you have done? I'd love to get your views on that. The system, as I say, isn't working like it used to. The players, for one, there are some that are brilliant. And this is still a squad that should comfortably be in the top 4. And that's another big element I never thought about until today. They should comfortably be in this top 4 still. Yes, they've had their injuries. But still, if you went down and just on paper, you said, right, this squad versus everybody else is in the league, it's still probably above the vast majority, plus you have Pep Guardiola coaching them. But he isn't doing a good enough job. I don't think City fans can just sit there and pretend that it's all going to be fine. I think they've got to put pressure on their club if they want to maintain the exceedingly high levels that they have pushed out as of late. And, of course, no side has the God-given right to be untouchable, to be winning all the trophies every single season. And I don't think that is something you should, you can demand it. I don't believe there's any way of guaranteeing that. But if City's recruitment this summer isn't top-notch, if Pep Guardiola doesn't adapt to a very quick-changing landscape in Premier League football, they may go another season where they fall away. Being 20 points away from the top, or 19 points, I think it might be, 19, 20 points away from the top of the league at this stage is horrendous, especially for a great team and a great manager. There's lots to be done this summer, but I really want to ascertain your opinions on this. Is it the squad that's just been exposed and actually Pep's getting a rough ride here? It's not his fault. Is it just the recruitment of Man City's been out, and once they get that right, Pep and his team will be fine? Is Pep a problem in this? Has he lost a bit of hunger? Can he not work out how to get the best out of the players that he got? Has he got a good enough squad to comfortably be in the top 4, but is failing? I want to get your opinions on this, because I'm just at a point where I feel that City and Pep have finally been exposed. That's the truth as I see it. I'd love to get your opinions, people. Make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you are subscribing, and we're going to see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.